Did you?
All right, we're alive. It only took 5 minutes to set up the stream.
But
Okay,
it's
well,
up.
I'm getting going there for our vocals, but where is it?
Vocals.
Here we go.
Let's make some bread.
I will say that on the thread dated April
Oh God,
4th,
here we go.
number three, no, I'm sorry, number four on the quarantine countdown was ESPN turns to esports to fill dead air. And we mentioned NBA and NBA 2K. Um,
Okay, we mentioned it, but we didn't sit there and talk about it as much. There is a stark difference.
no, we covered it as news.
Yeah,
We
it
covered
was
it
it
as
was part of
news.
it. It was part of it.
Disgruntled
Don't
noises.
don't mess with the list, my friend.
Seriously. I don't see you with a title list master, Arcadius.
No. But being disgruntled is free.
Okay, I'm going to listen to our levels real quick.
Okay. Hep, hep, hep.
Okay, I'm going to listen to our levels real quick.
A hearty chuckle.
I think we sound good.
I do too, so I am muting this. And take it away, Scorch.
Hey, you guys, I'm introing a podcast again. It's episode whatever. We have things to talk about. I stopped numbering these after what? Episode 34?
Something
Um,
around there.
yeah, but you may have noticed that we're putting out more than over the last couple of months, and that's because our lives are currently in a place that is not as shitty as they were before. And we're being a little bit more active in our hobbies. So we got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. We have the list master with the list, Vast Empires, and we also have Arcadius Zero, who's going to be the conductor of the hate train.
Whoop
And
Mm-hmm.
whoop.
we can jump right in. What do y'all want to
So,
talk about?
first on that fantastic list is the Jason Schreier story. We mentioned this on our last podcast, and so I just want to go ahead and follow up with it because we talked about Jason Schreier leaving Kotaku, and he hadn't announced his future plans other than, enjoying his time with his child, who is still a newborn, I believe, and doing some more podcasting stuff. But since that time, he actually appeared on Kind of Funny's We Know Cool People segment and
Yeah.
revealed that he is moving to Bloomberg News.
Yeah. Uh, I'm not. I don't know what to think about him going to specifically Bloomberg. What with the press that they've gotten after Bloomberg decided to run and fail at running for president in
Mm,
the latest primary.
quite.
Uh, the various NDAs and things about women that came out uh, with all of his stuff. But if he feels like he's going to be safer there, and it feels like this is kind of a safety move, at least in my eyes, then I'll like more power to him, you know?
And that was, if I would recommend, on a slower day, or if you're looking for a podcast to listen to as you're traveling across the city, I recommend listening to his interview with Greg Miller with
Yeah.
Kind of Funny, because it was really good, and that was one of the things he addressed. He actually went through and talked about his perspective of the entire debacle that prompted him to start looking to leave Kotaku, and then cemented his resolve to leave the organization. And he talked about, everything from Gawker being purchased by
Yeah,
the
man.
investment group, to all of the different things that were going on, to um, the influx of really
Like,
poorly placed ads
yeah,
and
invasive ads.
invasive ads.
He started that conversation way back with Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
He
It was
went
good though.
that far back, and yeah, it
Boy, that's
was.
in
It
the
was pretty
Wayback
good.
Machine.
Hmm.
I I've never actually heard him speak before, but getting slammed in the face with his nerd voice was pretty jarring because he has a very specifically nerdy voice. And I don't know what I was expecting
But it
when
wasn't that.
I started to listen to this guy whom I respect for investigative reporting in the video game industry, you know, but
Yeah,
it was a hefty nerd voice.
Well, I
it
think
really
if it comes to
was.
journalism, what little I'm really knowledgeable about the profession, the move is probably more of just a career builder because I'm pretty sure in the back of his mind he'll be there for a while, but not forever. And if you've got a pretty stout resume across a spectrum of things, it makes you seem more versatile as a reporter. So I can see him doing it for that reason,
Oh,
and
definitely.
probably some pay increase and life betterment as well.
Yeah. One
Oh,
of the
I'm.
things that he did mention in his interview with Greg Miller was that he had a kid, and that changes your perspective on the world
Oh, so then
significantly.
that goes to the stability point even more.
Yeah.
Mhm. And Bloomberg News is pretty stable, and it is one of the many what I guess we would call mainstream news outlets that has embraced gaming news as part of their entertainment news, I guess, vertical or machine. I don't even know what I'm trying to say here, other than gaming news is infiltrating actual reputable industry news
Well,
sources. And
if
so
your
that's why,
industry is bigger than the music industry, you're probably going to
yeah.
want a slice of that pie at some point.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Hollywood. They're larger
And
than
Hollywood.
Hollywood as well.
Yeah.
Um,
But
so, yeah, Bloomberg, where else? Forbes, and I just found out today, I was this many years old when I found out that Washington Post actually has its own gaming like site now called Launcher. So
yeah, I thought might be worth checking out, I guess. I mean, I get
yeah.
news from all over the world, uh, mostly while I'm sitting in my car choking down a pork chop, flipping through Twitter. But you know, it's kind of all over the place, and I'm probably, truth be told, going to be paying more attention to Bloomberg Gaming now that I know that Jason Schreier is there because I know he does good work.
And again,
Hmm.
that might be a move on their part. Hey, let's take a very well-known reporter and add him to our repertoire and pull the fan base that enjoys watching him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we can all collectively sweep Kotaku under the rug because they're shit now.
Nothing to live for here. Moving
Oh,
on.
just watered myself.
Don't do that.
Yeah. You know who's living real high right now? It's friggin' Netflix.
Well, when your platform is streaming and everyone right now is streaming, you're gonna make some bucks.
Especially if your, standard for like how much money is a lot of money is Disney and then you beat them. It
Mm,
it's kind of a biggish deal, you know what I mean?
kind of, sort of,
Hmm.
yeah.
It sounds like Scorch, you've marched into the Corona countdown.
The Corona countdown.
Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do.
No, you're supposed to interrupt it. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, cough.
Well, anyway, what we're alluding to is that Netflix recently surpassed Disney's market cap for how profitable they are as far as stocks go. Um,
Crazy.
at the point of the article that we're referencing, uh, Disney was worth $186 billion dollars, and Netflix was worth $187 billion dollars.
Mm.
And I want to admit, I would love to draw attention to this little fact that the the article that we all collectively did our homework on spoke as if Netflix has just barely eked out a lead over Disney. And while that may be true, that lead is $1 billion, you guys.
That would
It's
be
no
isn't
small sum.
1 billion what Avengers Endgame made in total,
Yeah,
in its totality?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, more valuable than their most successful franchise move.
That's a lot, you guys.
That's a lot.
Ugh, can't really even wrap my head around it. But it
For
makes sense.
Especially-
Disney.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially right now, but like and when you consider all of the divisions that Disney has under its umbrella, because it's not just movies and television, it's also the theme parks
Yeah.
and hotels and cruise lines.
All that
So they have,
hospitality and propaganda that they do, and swearing that Disney is not, racist and all that stuff.
they were, but
They might still be.
they but right now Netflix is only under the entertainment umbrella.
Yeah.
And
There's
we
a
are
streaming
entertaining ourselves at
platform.
home
Yeah.
right now.
There are a lot of people out there that have not done that before that are currently doing it now because they're stuck inside.
When you have nothing to do, you're gonna have to find stuff to do.
Yeah. And it got real
Well,
quiet because we were all thinking about masturbation.
I was actually thinking that, speaking of finding something to do,
Okay.
if you're
We're
a PC
going legitimate
gamer,
here.
if you're a PC gamer and you are on Steam, Shogun 2 Total War will be free starting Monday.
Yeah, free for keeps starting on Monday. Creative Assembly decided to release that game because of COVID, and they wanted people to stay home and enjoy themselves at home. Is that the correct wording? Enjoy themselves? That's more like another masturbation reference. But you know what I mean.
Oh, you.
Yes. Oh, you. But this is like one of several publishers that have been releasing like some games on Steam for free during this time, and it's a really good time. I don't even remember the numbers, but we talked about this in a previous podcast. The amount of traffic, like concurrent users on Steam, had hit an all-time high back at the end of March, I believe, mid-March, end of March, and so.
Yeah. Quite frankly, it's news to me that we're not in March anymore.
Man, this has been the longest April.
It really has. And as far as I can tell, all of us are still working, so it's been long even for those people that have a consistent schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine sitting on my ass this whole time in quarantine. So the more developers that get out there and release a game, albeit a decade-old game, is pretty good and sets a good precedent for the image of the industry for people that are new to its surface, I would say.
And I champion this idea all the time because I am one of the people who have been fortunate enough to work from home. I'm one of the people who feel that I'm very productive and proactive while working at home, and I understand that not everyone can do it. But if this is another example of companies finding ways to create a better work-life balance for their employees by offering the ability to work from home if they're able to, for the people who want to, then I am all for it, because I really do, just on a personal productivity and mental health balance, or work-life balance, I guess is the simplest way to say it. Like, I just cannot stop championing the ability to work from home. It's not for everyone. I get that. But for the people who it would benefit, I'm really hopeful that this allows them the opportunity to continue if they're able to, even if it's just like one day a week.
Yeah, definitely. And I think working from home and everybody doing it now really allows people to think about the amount of people that were shunned from the workforce because they simply couldn't get to an office. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
It's not an insignificant sum. And that's a big deal when you have access to a workforce that has not necessarily been tapped before. But
well, there's been a lot of, development delays and adjustments and schedules made because of coronavirus, and a lot of development teams in the video game industry transitioning their employees from their offices to home, and there's like a whole bunch that goes into that, whether it's setting up like networks and security for VPNs and getting all the conference materials together, and then making sure that they have the right equipment at home and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have those issues on top of like how global the industry is right now, where you can have a team working in Paris, coordinating with the team that's in Canada, who's coordinating with the team that's in Texas.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're in like Kojima Productions, where all you really have to do is plug in your Anchor baby, your bridge baby, excuse me, and you're right there with everybody in the same room.
See, if I were a PC player, I would not understand what you're talking about, because my copy of Death Stranding has been delayed until July.
Yeah, also due to COVID, right?
Also due to COVID and some of those transitional period things.
Well, just, take heart, PC players, in the notion that you will one day be able to play Death Stranding on your PC. It will happen because, people like money. But,
yeah. And
money.
babies?
Yeah, specifically ones in jars. But, I don't even know where I was going with that. You derailed me with the baby comment.
Baby.
What else do we have to talk about? Oh, wait, hold on. About the Uncharted movie that they're working on, right? That Tom Holland is attached to?
Wait.
What?
There's an Uncharted film?
There's an Uncharted film that is currently in the works. It's been in turmoil for a really long time because for the longest time they haven't had like a director, and they've just recently, and I say recently as a general term, have openly stated that Tom Holland is on the project and stuff like that.
It's too short to be Nathan Drake.
I don't know. I don't know who he's cast as, but yeah, there's a Uncharted movie in the works, and its schedule is actually getting pushed forward to, I think, June 2021. It was like later in the year than that, but they moved it forward, which is
interesting.
Very different change of pace in the world right now, considering everybody and their mother is delaying everything.
Yep.
So,
Everything.
I thought it would be worth a mention.
I actually find that kind of interesting, and I'm wondering if it was pushed forward because so many things were being pushed back. So there was a new window that, either there wasn't a lot of competition there now, or like maybe Marvel had this weekend on lockdown, and now that they've rearranged everything. This weekend is now free, and I don't have to compete with Marvel, or I don't have to compete with Disney, or I don't have to compete with, I don't even know who else is out there at this point in time. Warner Brothers.
Universal, Paramount.
Yes.
No, those people.
They'll all be owned by Disney in like 2 years. Just give it time. But
No.
I know, I hope not. But yeah, that could be part of it.
Yeah.
That's just such a weird casting to me. I
What,
guess it's
Tom
going to be
Holland?
yeah. Well, I mean, I know he's not as young as he looks, but I'm
He's
just
also
so
way more
used to him-
British than he looks.
Well, I'm just used to him being a teen,
Yeah.
and they're just going to make this an origin story.
You know what? I'm tired of origin stories. They need, especially with an IP that's already in the works, like Uncharted, they could just introduce the character and then have an adventure for that character instead of, this is how Nathan Drake was born, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
With the help
I'm
of
there
3
with-
little girls.
That's an interesting. Okay, well, hold on. I was about to say I would actually need to see that origin story because it sounds like something I'm into. Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
Powerpuff Girls. I'm into Powerpuff Girls.
I mean, who isn't?
They were so much fun.
Yeah. It still puzzled me how they could pick things up when they didn't have any fingers, but
The internet has things to say about that, and it's horrifying.
We're not gonna go
Not
there.
treading those waters.
Not at all.
Dear Lord.
Well, we got 2 more things in the Corona countdown. Sony. Thank you. Sony is scaling back, or they've announced that they're scaling back the PS5 manufacturing output. So as of right now, the PS5 is still being released holiday 2020, but they may not have as many units comparatively as they've had in previous years.
yeah, for other console releases, right?
Yes.
Like the PS4 or PlayStation 3.
Yep.
I mean, that seems pretty, I guess, obvious from the way things are. They are just saying it how it is. Like, look, everything's dialing back. We want to release this. We want you as consumers to possess it because we know you want it, but things are going to prevent us from making it as big. And honestly, it's probably a pretty smart move because this lets them sort of slip it into the market a little slower because it will be more expensive
Yeah.
than the PS4. So that gives people some time to have it, it gives the company time to get the console out, have some people playing it, and basically maybe work out some of the bugs with a smaller audience. And then when all of that stuff is publicly announced as having been resolved, then everyone's like, oh, all these problems are fixed. This console's rocking now, and it's solid. Let's get it. And it also gives them time to save the money for it, too.
Yeah.
I will say, though, that according to this article on Bloomberg, that that the company assembly partner said it would make about 5 to 6 million units of the PS5. But they noted that Sony sold 7.5 million units in its first 2 quarters for the PlayStation 4.
When they released that metric, that number of 5 to 6 million units for the PlayStation 5, is that for the quarterly release window? Is it for just the stockpile on release day? Did they say anything like that?
They said that the 5 to 6 million units of the PS5 would be for the fiscal year ending March 2021.
Okay.
So it would be the end of 4th quarter and the start of 1st quarter of 2021.
Okay. So that's the window that we're talking about. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the way that they're handling the PlayStation 5 and the way that they have some pretty expensive pieces of hardware in their console, I don't really blame them, you know,
Mhm.
especially with supply chains the way that they are right now. And believe me, I friggin' know about supply chains now more than ever.
More than you ever cared to know.
Yeah, I don't care about supply chains nearly enough to like now know the amount of shit that I know about supply chains. But that's
Different topic.
digression. Yeah. Um, but on a similar note, did you guys see the Xbox XXL ad?
No. Do
No, I
elaborate.
haven't.
So it's odd enough that I wanted you guys to see it. Sadly, I didn't like think of it in time to like put it in the link dump or anything like that. But it's odd enough that it made me wonder if it was a joke. I like the stance that they took on the way they were talking about their hardware and things like that. And just purely also because of the fact that they called it the Xbox XXL, like to play on the Xbox One X, made
I
me think
guess.
that it wasn't real, even if it was. Like, they, all it really was like a slow pan over a very, very
Like
close
obscured
up
shape or whatever.
console. It was like
Oh
black on
god.
black with a white highlight
And a little
light,
tiny like light
you
sliver
know?
shining through
Yeah.
somewhere.
And they had lines of text on the screen that's like it's so much faster. Will be available at this time. Big ass fans and stuff like that on their thing. And I don't know if it was real or not, you guys. I don't
You think
know.
that they were punking everybody? It wasn't April 1st, was it?
I don't remember when the ad came out. I want to say it was recently, but the term recent has taken a different like connotation
Yeah.
recently. Um,
Haha.
uh, yeah.
It's probably a parody, but it sounds
After this, I
really
will
clever.
I will link you guys to that ad, and you guys can parse it out yourselves.
Hmm. I wonder who did the ad, because I'm pretty sure it's not Xbox official, right?
I don't know. I saw the ad on Twitter, and you know how Twitter links get pushed around.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll have to do a little bit of digging. It just recently came to mind. So
Well, the last thing on our Corona countdown is something Arcades is going to love to talk about.
Really?
A little bit of sports news.
Oh
The
god.
Premier League will be will be returning as a FIFA tournament on NBC. Um, I believe starting this past week.
Don't listen to the lies. She's being facetious.
But they're officially calling it the E-Premier League Invitational Tournament. And it'll feature representatives from 20 of the Premier League teams, and they'll be competing in a single elimination tournament. And from what I'm guessing, I don't see anything in the article, but I'm guessing there won't be any fans at the matches. It'll just be the teams and the referees and the film
Interesting.
crews.
so they're like officially doing this with FIFA? Why would there
Yeah.
have to be
Digitizing their real life,
why would there
basically.
have to be like a stadium or anything like that? Like I'm not sure I follow with what you're talking about only players and only referees and stuff. Like hmm. All right, continue. Never mind.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was just thinking about it as in terms of like esports, like arena, um, like when there's esports competitions or streams, there's usually some kind of crowd in the arena.
Oh, gotcha. Like an invitational or whatever.
Yeah, like when they have like a Dota, esport competition or
Championship, a sports words place.
yeah, they usually have some kind of crowd there.
Yeah,
Sports drill hard, but they sports harder.
yeah. That's a good comic strip.
That comic strip is fantastic. Please go watch, everyone, if you don't know what I'm referring to.
But anyway, FIFA?
Yeah, FIFA is a thing, and apparently Wayne Gretzky is also going to compete in an NHL 20 competition. So there's more ways that
People can be entertained with sports than just the real sports.
Yes, and just the real sports, they're actually using like the gaming side, which I think is kind of interesting, and
Yeah.
bringing more people maybe to esports.
For them, it's a stretch. For everyone else, it's more like, oh, finally.
They did try this. You heard about the NASCAR fiasco, right? With them doing this with NASCAR?
No.
Was it NASCAR or was it Formula One?
No, it was NASCAR where they were like on the weekend that they were supposed to be having an actual race, they decided to simulate it with the drivers in a NASCAR simulation at the track at the digital track that was representative of where they were actually supposed to be racing. And one of the drivers rage quit on air, on stream, and started spewing racial slurs and stuff on stream.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Is he like now barred? Is he like done for now?
I don't know how they're dealing with that because I read like the headline in the first two like bars and then laughed and turned my phone over to do something else. So like that requires a little bit more digging, but yeah, the guy's in some serious trouble now for like
Oh, man.
yeah, he blew up.
Wow.
Wow.
Interesting.
Well, I was gonna say, like, would you expect anything less from NASCAR? Like,
Ooh, no, man, and I'm just saying no, if only because in my small town we had a NASCAR superstar pop in at one of the clubs, and there was a lot of inappropriate things happening, and I think part of it is celebrity culture in general, but it really kind of tainted my view of that sport in particular. Let's just put it like that.
okay, that's a very diplomatic way of saying that. I applaud
I'll tell you
you.
all the details later. Oh,
Okay.
That's what I'm here for.
Oh, well,
So
now that that's
that
out of
means,
our...
yeah, we got that out the system, guys. What's next?
Oh, dude, I don't know. You want to talk about some Warhammer?
Woo!
We talked about that last time, and it seems like there's a little bit more information about Warhammer now. What with news that they are, with the blessing of Games Workshop, making a Warhammer TV show, or at least a TV series. I don't know if it's going to actually be on the television proper.
Yeah.
And another thing that we, and by we I mean Vast Empires, has dug into is Henry Cavill might be attached to it.
Okay. So to talk about this, guys, we have to enter the speculation zone because we're going to be doing some high level speculation here. But recently, I believe it was this past week, Henry Cavill posted a picture of himself on his Instagram page painting his Warhammer figures. As we all know, Henry Cavill is a big, beautiful nerd who has is very vocal about his love of comics and video games and MMOs and tabletop gaming. And if you told me that he was like the ultimate D&D dungeon master at this point, I would probably like, yeah, sure, of course he is. I knew that. But that signaled to me that maybe he is being attached to the Warhammer project, because in the past, Henry Cavill has been known to post clues or hints about his franchise dealings, his film dealings on his Instagram or social media pages. So when the fallout, or when he and Warner Brothers / DC weren't able to come to terms for him to continue playing Superman in the DC Entertainment Universe, he posted a clip on Instagram. I believe he did something similar when he signed as Geralt for The Witcher. And so it's not so far to say that maybe he was hinting to his fans that he might have something to do with Warhammer coming up.
Interesting.
I have a question about that though.
Hmm.
And the question is this. Why would you cast Henry Cavill as friggin' buff and ripped as he is if you're just gonna put a big ol' CG power suit on him?
Because he will not always, two reasons. One, he will not always be in the power suit, but when he is in, they're not going to CG everything. I'm sure he'll have a suit.
Yeah, he's gonna
And
have a little ab window in his power armor.
We hope. We can only hope. But you need someone who has physical presence to be able to carry the weight of those kind of things anyway. No matter how good your costuming team is, those suits still wind up being pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you need a hot, strong man and or woman who's
The only thing
already
I was
built.
going to bring up was that it's probably the same reasons. It really has more to do with the actual acting themselves. V for Vendetta, played by Hugo Weaving, his face wasn't showed for a second in that film, but nonetheless, people still watched and enjoyed it because he was one of the actors for it.
So what you think casting Henry Cavill in a Warhammer series is an
It could have
easy
something to do
get
with just the
because
name.
he's a friggin' nerd, and it might also draw in some viewers just because of the name?
Well, yeah. Well, also, he's a good actor, so he could probably emote behind a mask. He's big, large, huge enough to carry any weight that comes from any part of a power suit that they put him in at any given time. He is already built and trained for for minor stunt work that you get actors to do.
Mhm.
Not just from like The Witcher, but also not just from Superman, but also like Man from U.N.C.L.E. He did some pretty cool stunts in that one as
Some
well.
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible. So like, and he's a pretty good actor, and
Yeah.
he's got a name. I almost said body. He's got a name. Okay, we don't just objectify over here.
In Vast's
Okay.
mind, look at that body.
No, we can
works out.
appreciate
I worked
his
out.
mind and his talents.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
many talents.
No, but I think it's exciting, and if
Six-pack
it's
worth of talents.
man, crack them open. That's how you get the girls to the yard. But it's just another rise of the geek kind of thing. Our avenues of entertainment have always been really fun and exciting and cool in our spaces, and it's interesting. It's fun that those elements are being pushed and broadened, and like all those things that we love, you actually get to see on the big screen.
Yeah.
So I like it.
Yeah. I just hope that they don't pigeonhole nerd culture with all of this. You know what I mean? Because it's been
I think
so.
it's gonna evolve organically by itself. I don't think you can force that too hard into a pigeonhole.
I mean,
I'm.
it's been.
It's mainstream though. Like comics used to be the epitome of nerd,
Yeah,
Used
that's
to be,
true.
Yep.
and now it's mainstream. Video games
Oh God!
became the new
Ow!
epitome,
Oh,
and
what
now
happened?
it's more mainstream. So don't die over there, guys.
I'm not. Okay. I mined through a spot. Water fell out, and then 2 zombies fell through the waterfall and attacked me.
But did you have your safety bucket?
I do have my safety bucket, but that doesn't really
Yeah.
help with more water. It helps with lava. Okay, I'm safe. We can continue.
All right. So real quick, before we get into what's going, I'm sure to be my favorite topic. We are a gaming news podcast, but we're Sony fans at heart, or at least this girl is. So Sony's spring game sale is coming to an end on the 29th of this week. And I was wondering if any of you guys had a pick to give our tens of listeners of what they should be purchasing if they have the cash to splurge on some games.
Do you know some of the ones on the list? I hadn't looked at it recently.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, if you just give me 1 second, I happen to have my PlayStation 4 open and gonna go look and see what's on there. I can start by saying that I believe right now Spider-Man is. Oh, Destiny 2 is free right now.
Destiny 2 is a free game. At least the base is.
Oh.
It's the only reason why it was briefly on my PC is because I needed to test specs.
Well, Marvel Spider-Man game is now $19.99.
Ooh, that's a good pick.
That was definitely be my pick. Sekiro is 35% off. It's $38.99 right now.
Okay.
Death Stranding is $29.99. Monster Hunter World is on sale right now, but I already have it, so I can't tell you how much
Is
it's
that
on
only
sale
this
for.
game or the DLCs?
It's the Monster Hunter World Iceborne, like
Okay.
the new.
So that's
part of
the
it, but-
like DLC pack and all that.
Yeah, but I can't tell you how much it is right now because I purchased it, so it's not giving me a price.
Yeah. Well, Monster Hunter is a good pick. Spider-Man PS4 is a good pick. I got news for you. Sekiro is going to end up being way more money than that, what with broken controllers and having to repair drywall.
This is true. It's a steep investment, hidden costs, as they say.
Yeah, it really is. It's like getting a free dog. You know what I mean? That's going to be the most expensive dog
Nothing
you will ever
is
own.
free.
Outer Worlds is $40 right now.
Ooh, good pick. Good pick.
If you're thinking about getting into Final Fantasy XIV, and I say this all the time, I almost wish that if they had a new combat system, I would go back to it. I really enjoyed that so much, but it's the complete edition is like $35.99 right now. Caveat though, it is a subscription service, and last time I played it, it was like $9.99. And then they had a $14.99 component, but I don't remember what the difference between the two was.
I see. Well, I haven't really played 14, so I can't
Me neither.
preach to
I
that.
got 12. That one's great. Get that one. That's an excellent one.
Is it on sale though? I don't know.
I'm scrolling
Well,
down
it
to
was
see what else is
discount
on here.
last time I bought it. It might not be on the sale, but I do know it was discounted from its original price.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey is on sale. I think that's $20.
That's a good game.
There's a lot of things on here, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So yeah, you can like throw a dart and hit a good game and then buy it because you don't have anything else to do here in quarantine.
So if you have the cash, Go ahead and get it while you can. Get it while it's hot.
Definitely. What else we got, Listmaster?
Well, I wanted to introduce a new segment
Ooh.
called Ask the Magic 8-Ball.
Yes. Love that
So,
title. Love it.
thank you. So basically, this week's topic is about content drops, DLC drops in persistent games and games as a service. And I was thinking about this because we've just received Borderlands 3, and they've like just been blowing us over with content. They released the new story DLC, whose name just escaped me, Tentacles of Love.
Yeah, Guns, Love, and Tentacles.
There we go. And then they just released this newest content drop.
Yeah, it's a seasonal event, Revenge of the Cartels.
Hmm.
They also had the handsome jackpot.
They did.
So it feels like Borderlands 3 is like re-solidifying what post-launch game support is supposed to be. Like they did this before with Borderlands 2, but it felt so long ago, and since so many of the games who were trying to introduce this new genre of shared world shooters, this co-opt games as a service platform seemed to stumble when it came to their DLC. It just reminded me what a good, consistent, fun game content drop is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you guys, like, what are your thoughts about this? Am I just being nostalgic and just like forgetting about other people who have been doing it well? And who are they if they were?
I
Well-
don't think it's nostalgic. It's functional.
Yeah. Gearbox and Borderlands, I think they were doing it right with like the speed at which they're releasing like large DLC chunks, like the Handsome Jackpot and Guns, Love, and Tentacles. I think the seasonal challenges like Revenge of the Cartels is a nice addition in between to have like little mini morsels of things that you can do and keep you entertained in the ecosystem. I'm not a huge fan of the mini events that they do where they like change loot tables and all of that, and they do that like every week, and it gets to be a little too much for me, honestly. Um, but really the only game that's coming to mind that also has like release window DLC and like continued lifespan DLC and stuff like that is Battlefield, and I feel like the Battlefield guys over at DICE do it way too slow.
Yeah, their content is large when they drop it, but it does take a while. As if it like they release the game without planning for the DLC, then the game's out a little while, and then they go, how about some DLC? And the guys kind of sit there and around the table a little while, and then they get started with actually making something.
Yeah.
Rather
And
than
really,
having a roadmap from the get-go.
and really that's fine. I would really appreciate it if more people took that stance with DLC. Like, let's make a game, and then if we have additional stories to tell, let's tell those stories, rather than let's make a game. Okay, let's saw some chunks out and make a DLC. Like,
Yeah.
those two different like pathways to DLC-dom are very divisive. And God, it takes the Battlefield guys like 3 and 4 months to give you a new DLC. And it's pretty dry in between there. And Gearbox has got those little mini events, the Revenge of the Cartels and whatnot, the Halloween event and all that, that kind of fill in the gaps, and it makes it a little bit more bearable. It makes you want to stay in the ecosystem a little bit longer. But I know that when we used to play Battlefield, and boy, do we want to play some Battlefield right now. The only problem is
Good. Battlefield.
Yeah,
Don't
Battlefield
don't
that
give us
isn't
that
shit.
Battlefield 5 non-functional garbage.
Uh, is that by the time the last DLC comes around, we're so burnt out that we don't even touch the last DLC.
Mm-hmm.
And that
There is
is,
such a thing as drawing it out too long.
yeah.
Yeah.
But really, that's about all I have to say regarding release windows and stuff.
So I think Borderlands does it right, and even if they do it a little excessively, I think they should actually keep that up because they set the benchmark
Yeah.
because of how abysmal it's typically handled right now in industry.
Yeah.
So even if they are a little over the top, I personally am perfectly okay with that. Just if only to be the central figure of, okay, loot systems. So we've got these guys over here that set the standard, if only purely based on number of players, copies of games sold, and the known expectation that a Borderlands game comes with. They don't have to be Borderlands, but they are the benchmark. I mean, I don't care what other developers say. Like, when it comes to loot systems and gratification of loot systems, they're pretty much the premium when it comes to loot systems, in my opinion.
I think
Even
so
if
too.
no one really likes Borderlands games, their loot system is undeniably robust and plentiful. Now, some
And
of it
fun.
might appear
Yeah.
redundant, but you get so much of it that even if there's something you don't like, you're bound to trip over something you do like. And that's the point, to create an atmosphere in which everyone can get something that they want, relatively when they want it, with about the amount of effort they expect.
Yeah.
That balance is super hard,
And
and they pretty much nailed it.
to those people that say that, oh, I'm not the biggest fan of Borderlands, and I could do without Borderlands. It's cool. Have you gotten a lob yet? Like that thing
Well,
is a
it's
game changer.
well, I was just thinking about like something like Borderlands versus the Division and Division 2, who, how do I put this? Versus like the D word, Destiny. I feel like with the Division's drops, I haven't heard as much backlash or disappointing like articles or tweets or such and such and such when they drop their DLC content. And I'm thinking specifically of the most recent one, Gangs of New York. Is it Gangs of New York?
Something
know.
like that. But that's
It's something like that.
Attention on their
that's a
last drop.
movie, isn't it?
Yeah, no, Gangs of New York is a movie, but it's something of New York. Anyway, whatever DLC they dropped where we return to New York as a Division person, as part of the Division in this COVID world. But that we don't receive that much like negative volume, and I know a lot of the time it's a vocal minority, so I'm just not sure if is it because it's that good, or is the Division player base that small, or are they just that in sync with their development like team that the majority of them are happy, and the people who are unhappy with what they release just aren't playing the Division anymore. Whereas whenever there's a Destiny content drop or event, it seems like there's always complaints.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to evaluate that.
The thing about that, to me, is a difference in like culture when it comes to those two games. Because Ubisoft has a very specific kind of culture when it comes to their games. And Bungie also has a very specific culture when it comes to those games. And Bungie has been wrapped up in toxicity before with Halo. And when they tweak things around with certain guns, specifically, one thing that I can directly point to and say, you created like a mini shitstorm, a mini Dust Devilish shitstorm with it, is when they changed the Magnum in Halo.
The pistol.
Yeah.
That one had some blowback.
It there was negativity around that, and that was in like the early 2000s. And that culture of negativity just kind of seemed to, even if it was successful for Bungie, kind of stuck to them. Whereas Ubisoft, I don't see as much negativity sticking to them because of the culture of their player base. Does that make sense at
No,
all?
it does. It does, and it gives me a way to like frame, like what I'm observing, but because I'm not like that in, well, I am actually pretty deeply embedded in the Ubisoft culture if you just look at my games library, but it's not like a community that I've actually really interacted with as much. And as much as I enjoy their games, it's not to the level of my enjoyment of Borderlands,
Yeah.
which sounds bad, but like I don't mean it like that. It's just, Borderlands is like a benchmark for me, and it's one of my formative like gaming influences, like the first shooter I've ever played, and or successfully played, because I did try and play Killzone and then promptly like threw
Oh,
myself
man.
off of a cliff.
That's not a starter game.
No, that
No,
is
no, it is
but
not.
not a starter game.
No, it is not.
Maximum
But
no.
but it was what I was doing at that time, and so I haven't been disappointed in the series or the franchise, because I'm thoroughly enjoying 3 right now.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of those games. Borderlands is one of those games that if I come home and I'm tired and I don't want to like use my brain or anything like that, I will put something on in the background and kill a few thousand psychos, you know? And that's happened.
True.
That's happened more than once recently. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna say that's me in Warframe. Although Warframe has not been fulfilling their promises to their they've been handing out checks that their asses can't cash right now.
Oh, I see.
Collectively, the community agrees. I just went and played their latest event, and I thought to myself, this isn't, the concept behind it is actually really good and cool, but it's not what they initially sold the premise to us as.
Mhm.
And playing
Overpromise, underdeliver.
it overpromised, underdelivered, and playing it, even with my clan, who I really like these people because we've been friends. We've been online friends for a long time. It wasn't enough to make me stay and play more than one round of it. And the actual what we had to do was on par of like an Anthem like event.
Ooh.
Like not even an event, but like one of their, go to this place and stand in this circle.
Oh.
Yeah,
You remember those days?
I do.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
And I just know that Warframe has and can do better. So I'm just going to wait to see when they bring me better, and I'll go back.
Well, hopefully they do.
I still like their team. I
Yeah.
still respect them. Just from I still love watching their dev streams because I feel like you learn so much about like the behind the scenes of video game production, and they're not afraid to actually address some of those really tough questions. Whether we like the answers or not is another thing, but they'll bring those, like their community manager will bring those questions to their heads of their development team, and they'll talk through them. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. It's always nice to have transparency in this industry.
Any industry.
Yeah.
So it feels like we didn't hate as much as I expected, but you know what? That's okay. It was our first try at asking the magic hate
I mean,
ball.
if you want more, I can come up with something.
No.
We can
We're gonna save it.
we can talk a little bit about Battlefield. We brushed across it, but like
No. Well, I'll find something to trigger the hate. Don't worry. Don't
trigger
worry.
the hate.
So the only thing I can think of for Battlefield is that their next one I shan't pre-order in any measure as to wait for the first 2-week debacle that will be their sketchy launch to get out of the
Oh,
way, and then we'll
Yeah.
have a playable, enjoyable game.
Man, when was
that
the
is
last
such a
time
good
they
segue.
had a good launch for a Battlefield title? When was it? Because it wasn't
Or any
4,
DICE title?
it wasn't 5, it wasn't 1.
I thought 3 wasn't that sketchy.
I don't think we picked that up in the beginning, though.
No, so
Because, like,
maybe it always has been.
the entire reason why we got into Battlefield was I rage quit Call of Duty and went to GameStop and picked
Got
Battlefield. Yeah.
I mean, that's a worthy reason because COD is pretty. It's just a different play style.
Yeah.
It's just like if you went to Battlefield and only played Team Deathmatch, then that's pretty much just go play COD.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I will say that my DICE experience has only been with you guys, and it was playing Battlefield 1.
The World
There
War
are
One
better.
version?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then the Battlefront, the
Ugh.
new Battlefront versions.
Ooh, boy.
And
Not a
and
good
I have
measure.
never had a good experience, even with like when we played the betas for those things. Like just grouping up was a pain.
Yeah. Well, DICE has never been good with menus.
Ever.
No.
I don't know how, but the same dude who's been designing menus for like all of DICE's career must still be working there because they
Yeah,
haven't
absolutely.
figured it out yet.
It's
They
the
just copy and
same.
paste it.
It's the same
Yeah.
guy that when they had the Battlefield 3 flashlight debacle, they decided to make the sun brighter instead of toning down the flashlights.
Oh, that still gets me. I'll never forget that. That is
Oh
the
my
best.
God, that's
It's
so
too bright. Well, fine.
It's
Crank
like,
the
look,
sun meter up to
look.
unseeable.
Here's the sun. Here's the flashlight. You see the problem? Just make the sun brighter, bro.
There you go. Juxtaposition. The flashlight is dimmer. Move on.
Fixed it.
Oh man. Yeah, same dude.
That's a
same
DICE
guy.
fix. Roll the
Well,
shader bar to the max level.
Since we're here talking about Battlefield and when you guys are going to get the next one, Polygon reported that Battlefield's latest updates Into the Jungle will be their last update for this game.
Good.
Battlefield 5, I think, is their iteration that they're going for, which is World War One. Or no, not World
Wait,
War One.
2.
World War Two.
They did 2 again.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, they need to stop doing that.
They need to, honestly, in my opinion, slingshot to the other end of the spectrum and do a futuristic Battlefield. I
Yeah.
think people would love the bejesus out of that because it'd be fresh. You could introduce a limitless supply of sci-fi weaponry, vehicles, scenarios, scenes, like
Yeah.
you name it. Just re-inject that franchise with freshness, and people would be all over it.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
we shall see.
I would even take like a modern take. Like before Battlefield 5 came out, I was pushing really hard for another Bad Company, and I would still take a Bad Company.
Yeah, I think a lot of people really enjoyed the I never played a whole lot of it, but I know anyone who has played Battlefield was like, "Oh man, Bad Company, man, that was the stuff."
Dude, Bad Company was the best.
So yeah, you will have the people that will still be wishing for a Bad Company, and I don't necessarily think that's wrong. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
At any rate, I'm happy that they are finally moving on from Battlefield 5. Man, I stopped playing that a really long time ago when I got shot through an 8-foot thick rock.
I didn't even play because I saw you get shot through an 8-foot thick rock. I was like, wow, this is an automatic nope from me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I bought it on sale. The pain was not that hard. Not that bad.
Yes.
Still
though, the damage, it's been done.
Yeah. So we're expecting that the new Battlefield title will be at least unveiled the end of this year, early next year, around the 2021-ish time. And I'm not holding my breath. I want them to do well, but I am not going to help them do well in the beginning.
Mhm.
That's something that they're going to have to figure out on their own.
Learning curves.
Gonna earn it. Gonna
Yep.
earn it.
Yep.
I will be there for the beta though, just to see if I can hate on it.
Oh, betas
yeah.
are easy to hate on. That's
It's
free
content,
fodder right
man.
there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Beta
Get
hate
shot
is
in the
just like an
back
odd-
simulator.
Yeah. Rage Simulator 2020.
Well, this isn't quite a rage simulator, but the WWE says that they are not going to release WWE 2K video game this year. They're skipping 2020.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's have any of you witnessed the cavalcade of buggery that goes on with WWE games?
So I watched, I think it was Angry Joe's review, or maybe even if it wasn't a review, but just like a review of that game,
Uh-huh.
and it was horrific. That was one of the only times in a long time I ever thought to myself, someone should have been sued. It was such
Where's my
a
lawsuit
breach.
bag?
I'm just saying, it's like it was such a breach. Like that was the first time I was like, what kind of contract did they have that they were able to release this kind of shit? Because it was shit.
Yeah, it really was. So there,
Oh, man.
admittedly, there's more to it than just we're gonna take it back to the benchmark and make a game that has fewer bugs. That's not exactly what's going on. Last year they switched studios for their titles, and it used to be this studio called Yuke. It was Japanese studio, and they moved it to a different one. I don't remember what it was called, but they probably released one of the biggest dumpster fiery pieces of trash, this new studio, that
Yeah, they did.
has ever graced the world. So, I really don't know how they're gonna get out of all of this.
Don't know.
Yeah. If you've never seen any of this crap, Funhouse does a lot of WWE content. One, because they're wrestling fans, and that's funny. And two, it's really easy to break those games, and one of their coworkers is notoriously good at breaking video games.
So they're doing it more just to see, like, hey, let's see if he can break this one too.
Yeah, exactly. And which the answer is yes. It's always yes. But yeah, they like glitch in this specific one that I'm thinking of. They like glitch their custom-made wrestler that doesn't have a head into a giant 12-foot tall ladder that is horizontal to like it's like perpendicular to their wrestler and it's horizontal to the floor. So like whenever they turn around, they're knocking over other people with the ladder
Oh
and
god.
stuff like that. It's a thing, man. It's a thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys want to?
from the battlefield?
Yeah.
No, we're just knocking our way down this list. Want to do some video game math?
Yeah, we can do some video game math, I guess.
Then that means we're going to go to Fortnite, because apparently Fortnite plus Travis Scott equaled huge numbers. Take it away, Scorch.
I don't know anything about it because I turned my brain off to Fortnite months ago. Take it away, Mast.
Well,
And away we go.
Wing ding 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 ding.
so this past week, well, let me start even further than that. Fortnite has made it a thing where they are trying to find different ways to use their platform to bring new gaming experiences to viewers, which I can appreciate. So last year, they had a big concert with I guess an EDM personality, Marshmallow,
Yeah,
something like
Marshmallow.
that. And it was a really big event, and it went over really well. This year, they teamed up with Travis Scott, fellow Texan. I don't know what else I was going to add there, to have not a live, but a concert event inside of the game.
Yeah.
It released, and more than 12 million people attended this virtual concert. I didn't
Wow.
watch it myself, but live. I didn't watch it myself, but I went back and I watched a stream of it. It's less than 10 minutes. It was honestly really cool. If I were a developer who worked on it, I would be proud. You couldn't tell me nothing right now. I'd still be patting myself on the back because it looked really cool. They had a lot of different elements in it to make it interactive for the players. And in that, like between songs, the backgrounds would change. Some of the things that your characters, like character movement speed and all this other kind of stuff changed for the character. 1 second you were up in the air, the next minute you were swimming underground, while Travis Scott appeared in like a giant form and performed for you. It was honestly the way they put everything together was really cool. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, and I could see why so many people, once they heard about it or once they started seeing what was going on in Fortnite, like plugged in to see it because it was a spectacle, and it was really cool.
Yeah. And I have to mention that the version of Fortnite that they were playing is free, and there are a whole bunch of people stuck inside right now. So that might possibly
Wait, what?
inflate the numbers.
They're stuck inside?
Yeah, because of the quarantine.
Oh, that kind of stuck inside. I thought you meant stuck inside the game.
Oh,
The character couldn't get out
no.
of the little venue.
Yeah,
thing.
it's like they're now trapped, and it's a Sword Art Online situation.
You get nothing but music day in and day out.
You die in the game, you die in real life.
Well, I will say this though, that according to this article on The Verge, Marshmallow's concert had 10.7 million attendees.
Okay, so there were objectively
people.
more. Several people. More than 5.
Yes, there were objectively more, and that might. What I'm saying here is that it might not have had anything to do with the pandemic. It could have just been name recognition.
That's
Because
true.
Travis Scott had a really big, not 20. I don't think it was 2019. I don't know when Astroworld dropped. I'm not
On
the
the
biggest
Wayback
Travis Scott
Machine.
fan. But it's not that I dislike him. I just never really listened to his music. But I know he had a really huge year when
Yeah.
that album dropped. So it could have been that.
Definitely. And I'm not part of like the rap scene or the rap world or anything like that, so I don't know.
Me neither.
I'm much more part of the metal crowd, so which admittedly does not draw as many spectators as rap does right now. So like unless you tell me that Fortnite is going to put like Unleash the Archers on the stage or something like that, you know, like oh yeah, we signed a deal with Heidevolk and Heidevolk is gonna play, you know, that was something that I would be interested in, but like, I don't know. But obviously they don't really need me.
And they have 12 point something million people
Yeah.
watching this thing. So I'm just on like the back end. I'm really curious as to like what that meant for Epic on like a sales note. Like, did they get?
Because
it was a free
the
event.
Buku bucks.
Yeah, like so did someone steal? Like, how many kids stole their parents' MasterCard and made some purchases. You know, that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
But they're not going to reveal that information to me, so.
Yeah. We could cycle back around and talk about transparency and video games.
But I have some more money-making math news. Call of Duty Mobile is a thing still, and they are putting together an esports tournament with over $1 million in prizes, and that includes cash and in-game prizes.
So to me, the entire premise, and this is very generalized, the entire premise of mobile games just seems like a really cheap way to make another buck. And I know that's capitalism, but
To make a lot of bucks.
Make
yeah,
a
to
lot
make a lot
of bucks.
And a mobile game just seems so cheesy and such a cop-out to certain developmental benchmarks that come with video games, that if you take something that has a high benchmark and then you just shrink it down to the mobile game benchmark, I feel like it does a disservice to the original franchise. That's my own opinion.
Yeah.
It takes something that people put a lot of development into and crams it into a cracker box of a lesser version of itself to just make more money.
I mean, to me, mobile gaming is always going to be that thing that you have 30 seconds for while you're waiting for the bus, you know? And
Yeah.
I don't really understand putting like a huge title on mobile other than everybody has a phone, let's make money, you know?
Yeah.
You're
Well,
not really
I'm
pushing
going-
any boundaries. You're not really making a
I think that's the real
like
reason
an
I don't like it.
artistic push with a mobile game, I don't think.
I hate to be this person, but I'm going to argue the other side, not to detract from what you're saying, because I fully agree, but for 2 points. One, it does have a lot to do with the immediacy of your phone, and you know, it's not even a 30-second, let me get on my whatever. It can be like an hour commute if you're in New York, or I'm stuck in traffic in LA, I'm going to get on my phone. So there's a lot more time into it. I am in my office on a virtual conference call, but no one can see me right now.
Yes, you're
Let me go.
supposed to be on task.
No, this isn't me.
You
Like, I'm
have
talking about
to
someone who's
adult.
in an office. I'm talking about someone who's in an office.
Yeah,
You
but
can't
they
tell
have
me
to
Okay.
that.
adult.
No, you can't tell me there's someone right now. Well, not right now because it's Sunday. But you can't tell me there's not someone who has been in a position of whatever in a conference call who doesn't have to see anyone, who may have picked up their phone and just decided to bust out, a couple of
I don't know
rounds
if these
of
are
something.
actions we should be encouraging right now.
I'm not encouraging it, but I'm just saying it would be irresponsible and silly of me to think that no one is doing this.
That's true. That's
I mean,
very
it's
true.
your cell phone. Like, you could just put your cell phone in front of your office laptop, be typing, and then, lift your finger and swipe right or do whatever you need to do for your game and then go back to work. Like, it's that easy to do. That's one of the reasons why, like, mobile gaming is a thing. It's really quick and it's really easy to do, and you can do it stealthily. Is he texting or is he,
In a
like,
gay
killing
porn.
zombies?
Oh.
Or that. Or
I
that.
thought you were gonna be like Candy Crush.
Or, well, that's what I'm thinking, like those little things like that. But my other point is, you guys don't know. Well, I've mentioned this to you guys before. My entire life, I have been waiting for a specific piece of technology.
A full dive
Tablets-
helmet.
No. It is a computer book as used by Penny from the cartoon Inspector Gadget.
Oh man, I never watched Inspector Gadget, so I need a rundown.
So Penny was Inspector Gadget's niece, and she was the very smart and capable person in the background who was actually
Kept it all
solving.
together. Yep.
She kept it all together. She was actually the one who was solving the the mysteries or whatever. And
Yeah.
she had a computer book, which is a book that just opened it up, and it was like on one side, had your keyboard and stuff like that, and on the other side it showed like the data, but it was cartoon stuff, so it was just like squiggly lines and squares,
Yeah.
like moving. But she had that, and my entire life I wanted a computer book, to the point where in a notebook I actually drew. Like, I remember being like 4 or 5 years old, like drawing in a
Concepting
computer
some
book.
stuff out.
Yeah, like I've made my own computer book.
Cool.
And so tablets are the closest thing that we have to a computer book at this time.
Pretty much.
But now that we're doing dual screened objects, not objects, but dual screen,
like monitors
like
and stuff.
monitors and telephones, and specifically Microsoft is coming out this holiday season or next holiday season with their Duo and Solo units. And I looked at it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's a computer book. And if you look at their, and so basically I'm going to get one. But if you look at their like promo video for it, they showed gaming on it, and it almost looked like a DS in concept, like you're playing on one end in the on one part, and then on the other part of the screen the image was showing. And this whole long-winded spiel is just to say that technology is increasing so quickly with mobile phones that mobile gaming is just going to be a part of regular gaming. Like, you'll be able to have those same...
An extension.
Yeah, it's just
of
going to
all
be
the
an
existing
extension.
stuff.
In the same way that it's basically mobile gaming is about to replace handheld gaming, in my mind, in terms of like what kind of game offerings you'll actually be able to receive. There'll still be a lot of cash cow things. Like, trust me, I've played a couple of them, like Seven Nights and on Myoji. Like, I got on Myoji on my phone right now. But even though you can see the cash cowedness of that game, the production and the gameplay is better than, like a handheld game, not a handheld game, but a mobile game that I purchased in that similar, not purchased, but pulled down to try like 2 years ago. Like, it's much better.
Yeah.
Like controls, character design, music, like all this kind of stuff. And they're finding ways to iterate and make it more and more gamer friendly. And while still trying to bilk you of all your sense. So I guess that's what I'm trying to say there.
Yeah.
Sorry that took so long to get out.
No, it's cool. I understand. I know where you're coming from now.
And I think someone had that same thought over at Nintendo, so they created a master mobile device.
Well, Nintendo has been doing mobile stuff
Yeah,
and
they've been in
handheld
that scene for a long
services
time.
for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that idea is not new to them. As a matter of fact, that's their moneymaker,
butter.
you know?
That's part of the whole Switch's appeal, is that you're able to pick it up and go with it and have a seamless gameplay experience where you're actually being able to play the full scale, like, fun adventure games or what have you on the go.
Yeah. I own a Nintendo Switch, albeit just because I wanted to play Pokemon for right now. And I've never actually plugged it into my TV. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's your thing right there.
Mm-hmm. That's my test case.
Yeah. I don't know if would be a good test case for that, but you know.
You count.
Okay. It's easily accessible information for where we're at.
Well, I just figured it'd be a really nice segue because we're talking about Nintendo. Animal Crossing is so big, guys. I didn't realize Animal Crossing was this big, but Animal Crossing is this big. And the more that we as a gaming community share things, the more I realize how important Animal Crossing is to people's everyday lives.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in this time of COVID. But there's some really cool like stories coming out there, and so this past week we had a celebrity sighting in Animal Crossing. Elijah Woods made himself known and visited a stranger's island and danced around and talked to people for a good half an hour to an hour.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, and I would expect nothing less from somebody like Elijah Wood, really. I feel like he's like the poster child for people that play Animal Crossing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
It doesn't really even have to do with him actually liking the game. It's his face that is never aging that makes me think
it is immortal.
that makes me
Keanu
think he
Reeves.
likes Animal Crossing.
Well, I mean, if you take good care of yourself and stay in your lane, you too can age very, very slowly.
Yeah. Oh man. I don't really have a whole lot to say about that. 'Cause
I don't either.
I don't play, but
I don't play it either. I have a lot of friends who do, and so like someone sent it to me because they know I like Elijah Woods. But yeah, if you want to know the whole story, head to Twitter. It's on there. Just search it, and it's there. But it's pretty cool.
yeah.
I think we're almost done, guys. I only have 2 more things on the list.
Whew. What are they?
Well, one is on the entertainment industry side. There is going to be a One Punch Man film in production.
Oh yeah. That thing. I'm worried about it.
Yeah.
Tell me why. Ain't nothing.
Knew it was coming. How are you going to tell a One Punch Man story with real humans? How are you going to do that?
There is no to said things with real live action.
I mean, nowadays it's pretty easy to CG explode a bad guy with a single punch. That's not hard to do.
But it's everything else that makes the character.
It's that the humor of One Punch Man does not lend itself to being reality driven. And it's going to be very hard to overcome that fact.
Agreed. That's really the only sole concern I have. All the other elements of it will just be what it is, but the most important of the elements is how it will be presented.
I mean, the action is cool and all, and I love watching Saitama absolutely destroy dudes all the time. But really what keeps me going back to that series is the humor. And I don't know if you can translate the humor into a live action kind of thing.
Have either of you guys watched the most recent Jumanji films?
No.
With The Rock
the
and
first
Kevin
one,
Hart.
not the second one.
Okay. What did you feel about that? Or how did you feel about
comical.
that? The reason why
it obviously, I remember watching the first Jumanji, so everyone is in the back of their minds is going to have that while they're watching this one. I thought it was a pretty decent modern twist to it.
So the reason why I bring that up is because the team who's writing the scripts are the ones who, man, I'm losing it, guys. Okay. The writing team who is penning the script for One Punch Man are the same people who wrote Venom and Jumanji. The Next Level.
Then that kind of still worries me because both of those movies, while they were entertaining, were not top tier. And as an anime, One Punch Man is like near top tier to me. So to me, it's going to be a devaluation if this ship stays ruddered on the current course I think it's heading.
And we can say that, there hasn't been a really good precedent of Hollywood creating or remaking anime series. and I'm thinking of Death Note. I'm thinking of Dragon Ball. And I'm even going to.
Airbender.
Yeah, I was just about to say, and I'll even put Avatar in there. And my and the whole, I'll just say it, and the whole race bending that went with Avatar too. That was really frustrating. Why can't people be heroes of their own, like, things that are based on their own culture? Like, that really, really annoyed me.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's one of the things that I would be concerned about for One Punch Man. Like, yes, like, it's pretty universal, but, like, if they cast Tom Holland as Saitama, I would be pissed. You know what I mean?
Who would you?
And
who
please
would
don't
you
cast Vin Diesel as Saitama.
Who would you
Oh,
cast
God.
as Saitama?
I don't know. Oh, shit. Actually, I do know. Hold on. Let me figure out. Who is this guy? What is his name?
Tom Hardy. Is that his name?
I would
Guy
not.
who played Venom.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
not cast Tom Hardy. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's probably too good looking. Oh, dang. Do y'all know Daniel Henney?
What did he work on?
He is. He's been on a bunch of different things, but what he's probably best known for, if you're not in to Korean dramas, is he was the voice of Tadashi in Big Hero 6.
Okay.
But he's tall and handsome.
Okay.
He's got shoulders on him.
All right.
But I think he could pull like the blank Saitama face really well.
Heh.
Yeah, there's going to be very few people who can pull that off genuinely, and that's what concerns me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see once that cast list comes on. I'll have more to say.
Yeah, I'm sure. And you best believe that we'll cover it, at least for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
For a smidge.
Yeah.
For a smidge. All right, last topic, guys, before we lose steam. And I have a feeling we're probably not going to go too long on this, but I wanted to ask your opinions on Last Oasis. If you guys had a chance to look at that.
I have not. It was on the very bottom of the list. And you wrote, as a little side note down there, that you were sad because it was PvP only.
Yes. So, Last Oasis is a game that's in early access out on Steam right now, PC only, at this point. And it takes place in a post-apocalyptic Earth where the Earth has stopped rotating or is rotating slower, or there's something weird with the daytime cycle. And you start off as an individual with nothing, and you have to go across the world, collect resources, and you're making your way towards, safety in the world. One of the draws in the game is that they have a really unique crafting system to create vehicles in the game, and vehicles is the wrong term for it because they're almost like a Studio Ghibli meets Mad Max-esque type vehicle.
Cool.
So
like cat bus with skulls and like
kind of like
blood
the first
and
one
spikes and stuff on it.
I don't know about blood and spikes, but maybe once you get to the PvP portion of it. But like the first one that you make is like it's wooden, and it's got like weird kind of wooden wheels, and you're in it and you're cycling, and then you put wings on it, and then the wind helps you go faster. Like, you just got to watch some of the videos for it.
Okay.
And then you start, like, as you progress through the game and you start to like collect more materials, and you go to your next level in the world or next server in the world, like you'll find blueprints to make bigger, like monolithic type like ships, and that's where I'm thinking about like Mad Max type thing, where it's really huge, or maybe even like
what? Like, are we talking like Carnivora sized?
Yeah, something like
things.
that,
Oh
where you
my.
have multiple. Like I think you can have like up to 50 people on one.
Oh my
Jeez.
goodness.
Like
And
a
it's
big thing.
PvP only?
And it's PvP only, and so that's the part that's disappointing to me about it. And like it's big in its open world, and when I say it's PvP, I mean there are enemies there to fight, but the majority of the fighting comes between people who are coming after you for your resources, or really big groups
Those games are
creating
always
clans.
stressful. Those are definitely like
Yes.
rage quit worthy types of games, and I
Yeah.
don't get a lot of enjoyment out of them.
And I want them to create just for me a co-op version or co-op path, because I think this would be so much fun to play, but I don't care about the PvP portion of it.
Yeah.
What you mean to say is you don't care about people coming in and wrecking your hard work and then running away laughing with all your goods.
Yes.
I
think it's
understand.
I think from the video that I watched, it was Force Gaming. I was watching their impressions video, and you can't board another player's vehicle.
Uh-huh.
So you
Okay.
can't take their thing. You can't take any resources that they have stored on their vehicle, but you can kill a player and you can take the goods and stuff that they have on their person.
Well,
I
that's
think
kind
that's
of...
how it works. That could be like wrong, because I wasn't really paying attention too much on the impressions video. I was working,
Uh-huh.
but I was listening. But I was also doing other things, and my attention was split. But I feel like that's one of the things that they were talking about. But when you guys get the chance, I really want you to just to look at like maybe a gameplay trailer or something like that, just so you can see the vehicles that they're making, because they
Sure.
look so cool.
So one very, very last thing. I'm going to be really quick about this because it seems like this has been a long one for us. So you guys know about the trials and tribulations of Fallout 76, right?
Oh,
Hmm.
yes.
It
Acquainted.
has made the news again.
What?
Recently, they've added a big old DLC that has added NPCs into the game, finally.
Like, to the normal current Fallout 76? Not
Yeah,
like some nude, weird, re-released rendition of it?
yeah. So,
And
Okay.
that had been just as point of reference. They had already that was on their roadmap. They had planned to do that.
yeah.
Oh.
So they released this, and there is one hell of a bug with the NPCs in this new DLC. And it's that the NPCs are able, and often do, loot players' dead bodies.
Oh,
What?
that's
Oh
kind of
my
awesome.
god. No. That's
That's
not how
awesome.
this works. That's not how any of this works.
Is it a bug or is it the machine learning?
Like,
Dude, I don't know.
there is just no part of that that's acceptable.
I don't know. I don't know how they ended up with that. I don't know how they're gonna fix it or anything like that. There's just NPCs. They're stealing stuff from dead
Wow.
player bodies.
Well, that pretty much
I
means they're killing everyone they see.
Or they're
I'm
just
just gonna
around when
say,
somebody dies.
yeah, or when you die and you don't finish off the NPC like team, they'll just come and loot you. I'm gonna say that's machine learning at its finest.
Okay.
I don't necessarily want it in my game,
I think
but
that's
if
an
this,
excuse for machine learning.
but that's first of all, it doesn't surprise me. But
Anyone wants machine learning, the AI from Halo Reach or the AI from Killzone. That is the premises of some machine learning right there. Oh wow, we have a bunch of people over here. Oh gosh.
What?
You
Huh?
attackers.
Oh, raiders.
Yeah.
Ow.
I don't have a sword.
you don't have a sword.
I've got a pickaxe.
Okay, gone.
Oh,
But now I've been cursed again.
poisoned?
Damn it.
Yes.
All right.
All
So,
right, I think that's it, guys.
yeah. I hope you enjoyed this extra long iteration of whatever the hell we're calling this now. the DerNami Gaming Podcast. Still sounds weird to say after hiatus and more hiatus. If you liked it, consider subscribing. If not, be on your way. I don't really have much to
We don't need
say.
you.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say after that. We'll see you later. Bye.